I need to start this off by addressing a video I made a couple weeks ago about Dune 2. And it sounded like it was going to be nothing more than a bait and switch, a woke piece of garbage that did nothing except jerk off the women of this movie. I don't know if this article is a lie or the director is a liar. But Dennis's quotes say, Zendaya's Chani becomes the film's main character. No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. At no point of this movie did I feel like Chani was the focus. If anything, they character assassinated her. Now, I haven't read the books before seeing this movie because, here's another quote from it. Dennis also says, amidst a change in Frank Herbert's novel because he didn't think it was proper. So I had a bunch of people asking me, oh, well, did you read the source material? I was like, no, I didn't. Why would I want to read the books if the director is flat out telling me I'm changing my movie from the books? Now, from what I've read online about Chani's character in the books, I found this little thing from Google. In the book, Chani stands by Paul's side, supports him in everything, even when he decides to marry this princess for political convenience. In the movie, she mocked the idea of him being the Messiah. Let's just talk about that for a second, okay? That is probably the most unbelievable part of this movie, that this entire tribe that is guided by fate and this prophecy, that it has a few people in it, not just like a few, a bunch of people in their tribe that openly make fun of the religion and that people are praying and they're not on the same page of it. At no point do I believe that anyone that has these absolutely ridiculous and disrespectful views on their faith and worship, they would not be allowed to be in this tribe much longer. So the fact that you had Chani's character doing all this stuff, laughing at Paul, laughing at the Messiah, and even weirder with that though, the prophecy is that he is the Messiah and he's doing all these things. Javier Bardem's character goes on and on and on about like, oh, he's doing this just like it's prophesied. Oh my God, he's doing this just like the prophecy says. Chani and the other people just keep making fun of it. It's like he's doing everything on this checklist and you still don't believe that he is this person? I don't know. I thought that was very, very odd. And I guess back with the character Chani, she was just the worst at everything. Zendaya was terrible in this movie. If you were to tell me this was her first acting role, I would not be surprised. I do feel like her and Paul's relationship was rushed. A lot of things actually were rushed in this movie. In fact, I think Dune Part 2 could have actually been 2 movies. Each being almost 3 hours long still, though, because a lot of details were really, really rushed in it. And I feel like, especially the final fight scenes, they really sprinted to get that over with fast. But back with the religious aspects of it, though. They should have had it where Chani was supportive the entire time. And when Josh Brolin's character showed up, you should have had it to where he wasn't supportive of it. Maybe you should have had those two people clashing with their belief system. One sees him as the Messiah, and one just sees him as the Duke's son. That would have been a lot better, I think. Maybe at the end, Journey starts seeing him as this godlike character. Thought that would have been a great idea, but instead they said, okay, we're just going to have her hate on him the entire time, and somehow she's the main star going forward. I have no idea what that means. But to address one of Dennis's quotes, where he said the focus of this movie is women, the focus of this movie is not women. It has characters that just so happen to be women, that were really well written, but at no point where it's like, yes, this is a female, so therefore she is better than everyone else here. Yes, the female empowerment is here. It's like, no, I just felt like Jessica's character was really well written and she was a witch, so therefore she was powerful, but at no point did I feel pandered to at all while watching this movie. Timothée Chalamet was fantastic. I absolutely hated him in the beginning of this movie because he was so humble, and they actually took a line from Life of Brian.
I'm not the Messiah!
Only the true Messiah denies his divinity.
What? He is the Messiah!
Not Mahdi. Dokumi, Kadainese, the Kol Kanainak,
That was absolutely perfect on the nose, made me laugh out loud, but he didn't want to be seen as a Messiah. In fact, he really didn't. I don't even think he believed he was it for a while. In the beginning of this movie, he was like, oh no, I don't want to go to the South. They'll see me as this god, and I'm not a god. And then 2 hours later, he's like, worship me, you Also, Timothy Cabral if he has to. When he was in that final fight against Austin Butler's character, what an awesome fight scene. And I was actually annoyed a couple times when they would cut to the silhouettes, though. So you can clearly see, okay, this is when the stunt people are coming in. If I was the director, I was like, no, just wave them off. Like, no, you guys are doing this fight from start to finish. But Austin Butler's character, whose name I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce, awesome. Absolute powerhouse of a role. They introduced him in the perfect way. Great fight scene. We got to know everything about this guy in a few minutes' time. And I was a little bit disappointed that he died in the end. Just from a story standpoint, I would have liked to see him be the main villain of the third movie. Maybe he kills Chani at some point, and then it's this revenge quest against, him versus Timothy Chalamet. Thought that would have been kind of cool, though. Obviously, they went in a different direction. I don't know if this follows the books at all, though. But that final fight scene, amazing. His introduction, amazing. Everything about his character, absolutely perfect. But then we get to one of his family members, played by Dave Batista. And if you would have told me before this movie came out that the focus of this movie was to make his character look absolutely ridiculous and just pussify him the entire time, I would have said you did your job. He was nothing more than just a screaming child with temper tantrums. Horribly acted. I never thought Batista was a great actor to begin with, so that's always why I'm very confused when he's in a movie that's actually really good, though. But they made him into the biggest pussy in the world. I have no idea why they did that. And he was just ridiculous the entire time. And when he finally died against Josh Brolin, he died very, very quickly. I'm like, why did they do that? A lot of this movie, the pacing's weird. Again, highly recommend this movie. It's going to be an absolute Oscar phenomenon. It's going to swallow up almost every award it's nominated for. But they've really rushed a lot of the action at times, though. I don't know why. Some of the pacing was very weird. Almost to the point when an action scene happened, I was like, oh okay, we're doing action now. That's a nice change of pace here. But yeah, he has a final fight with Josh Brolin's character. Lasts like 5 seconds. Stellan Skarsgård was fantastic. And one of the reasons I was excited for this movie was because of Stellan Skarsgård's character. That scene when they walked into the chambers and he was alive and the music was blasting. Right there, I got fucking goosebumps and my nipples got hard as rocks. Like, I was ready for a sequel to see this man die. It was really well done, though. His character was great, and then, again, he kind of died pretty fast at the end, though. And I didn't like that. Some of the deaths in this movie were just a little bit rushed. I don't know why. Yeah, he's killed by Paul, and I don't think he really knew who he was, though. I think he kind of got it towards the end when the knife was in his neck, though. But I think it would have been a little bit better if Paul would have taken off his mask and hat and everything like that and revealing, yes, it is me, and I'm going to kill you right now. It just felt like, I don't know, I really didn't, it didn't capture the moment for me as well as it should have. Christopher Walken was in it. What a weird casting choice. As the Emperor, he was great. Don't get me wrong, though. It was just kind of strange seeing him in something where it wasn't a comedy, and he was playing this very serious. He wasn't animated at all. It wasn't like a thing that YouTube impressionists would be able to just do a mockery of his character and stuff like that. He was just playing this very, very serious. Jessica was a great character. A little bit of a character assassination in the beginning. Yes, I know she's pregnant, and I know pregnant women have morning sickness. However, this is a character who is so in tune with her body that she was able to make sure she had a girl. So you're telling me someone that can do all that is going to vomit at the sight of a man being drained of his water? As soon as that happened, Javier Bardem's character, Stilgard, he kind of should have been like, you know what, maybe you're not the high and mighty mother that the prophecies have foretold. The one thing I did question with the witches is that when she drank the worm juice, that they were shocked when she was pregnant. In fact, I believe it was the high priestess there that was the first one to realize, oh my god, this woman's pregnant. It's like, you should have known this from the beginning. You people can see the future. You guys know everything. You couldn't tell that this woman was a couple weeks pregnant already? I don't know. Just, that kind of threw me for a loop, though. I really liked how the witches were kind of like pulling the strings behind the curtains. I thought that was a really cool aspect. There was really zero problems I had with a lot of characters in this movie except Batista and Zendaya's character. I felt like they could have been complete and total rewrites. Batista could have been an absolute recasting, and Austin Butler should have been the one that we're going to see in the third movie, because right now, I have no idea what's going to happen in the third movie. Like I said in the beginning, I did not read the books for the express purpose that I knew that a lot of stuff was taken out of it. But if I'm not mistaken, this movie should have had Paul and Chani having children. I think 2 children at this point, though. And they have no children at all. So I read that the final movie would technically be about old man Paul and his children leading the charge. But obviously that's not going to happen. You're not going to push Timothy Chalamet out of this movie. He is going to be the focus of this movie. And it does make me wonder, is Chani going to kill Paul in the end? Is that what's going to happen? That with Paul fully taking on this Messiah role, is she going to eventually kill him because he is too power mad or sacrificing too many people? Are they going to turn him into the villain? And I was actually very surprised that there was a third movie. I think you could have absolutely ended this at part 2. But in the end, there are no breadcrumbs with this movie. I know it ends where they're looking at space and all these warships, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, we're going to go to war now. But at least when the first one ended, you had Paul avenging his father, where Stellan Skarsgård's character survived, so you had that going for it. But this one ended where it did seem like everything was kind of tied up perfectly. You know, I don't think Paul marrying the princess is the breadcrumbs that I desperately need for the third movie, okay? I don't really care about the love triangle that we're going to see between the princess and Chani and Paul. That's not going to do it for me at all. But besides that, I didn't really have any problems with this movie. In fact, one thing I was a little bit confused about and would have liked to see maybe more of it was how the hell did all those people get on the sandworms? They ride the sandworms like taxis. But it's not like, oh, one person does it. They all do it. And at one point, Jessica's in some kind of a, I guess, little hut thing they made for her, so she's staying out of the sun. So how did they get her on this moving sandworm as she's pregnant while she's inside this pod? Just a little thing there, though. I felt like maybe they could have domesticated the sandworms a little bit more. Maybe they could have played some kind of sound that hypnotized the sandworms in a way. I don't know, just like a little detail like that. I just don't really believe that all these people got onto this moving giant sandworm all at once and everyone survived perfectly. One of the brightest spots of this movie, Javier Bardem playing Stilgar. I don't know if Oscar nomination for supporting actor is in the cards here for him, though. However, if you're telling me the list started off at 10 actors being considered and then got whittled down to 5, he's 8 or 9 easily. But there are a lot of question marks with the third one, particularly with Paul and his children. I don't think we're going to see a time jump because the first one ended and the second one started right after that. So I don't really think the second one is going to end or the third one starts off decades and decades later where Paul has a whole family and he's an old man. I think it's just going to start off right where the second one left off and they're just going to go from there. But what did it cost to make Dune Part 2? About $200 million, which means that it's probably going to have to make around $500 million to really make a profit. I think you're going to get there very soon. This is going to definitely be the first billion-dollar movie of 2024. Easily $1 billion without even trying. If Barbie and Oppenheimer could get to $1 billion, this movie's going to clear it by a mile, I think. And one of my favorite themes of this movie was the absolute respect that certain characters gave each other. Stilgar laid down his life multiple times and told Paul to kill him, so he would be the rightful one in charge of the tribe, so then he could speak at the massive council meetings. Because when Paul showed up there, they first told him, you can't speak here. You're not in charge. And then Stilgar said, Paul, time for you to kill me. And Paul said, no, I got this. Journey would lay down his life for Paul. He absolutely loved his family. It was more than just duty. It was honor. It was absolutely everything to him. And if Paul was to sacrifice himself, Journey would be the one stopping him and doing it himself. And if there was a chance that Paul died during that battle, Journey would probably live the rest of his life regretting that he didn't save him. Then you have Austin Butler's character, the absolute respect he had for the Baron. The honor he felt when he said, "I will make you the emperor of this place," though. The look on his face just said it all, though. When he embarrassed Batista because he disrespected the family, because he embarrassed the family, because he humiliated them. Austin Butler's character cared about the honor of his household above everything else. And what happened in the arena when Austin Butler killed that guy that wasn't drugged up? They had a moment, just a simple moment, man to man, of "I got you," and he's just going down with him as he's dying. Wasn't any one-liners, wasn't any bullshit, just, absolute respect might be one of the themes of this movie. Even crazier, another weird one that popped up, though, Paul and Jameis. Jameis from the first one that Paul killed in order to be part of this group, though. There were times in this movie where he was asking Jameis to help him. And that scene threw me for a loop because I think there might be some deleted scenes that we might be missing, or some reason why he has this special connection with Jameis beyond the grave. Thought it was a really interesting moment, and I would have really liked to see them elaborate on that a lot more. And then Paul threatened the Emperor and said, "I'm going to marry your daughter." What did the princess do? "I will marry you, just spare my father, please." The love she had for her father, that she's willing to marry this guy. And then one of my favorite parts of it, the battle at the end, Paul, Austin Butler. They saluted each other before they went to war. They don't even know each other. And why was Butler doing this? Was it because he wanted to fight Paul this entire time? No. The Emperor chose him as his champion. He was there to fight Paul, to kill him, to preserve his way of life. The honor that was bestowed on him in that moment. That is why Dune 2 is a fantastic movie. That all these characters had something else guiding them. Their own personal beliefs, their own honor, their own respect. And that is why Chani's character sucked. She had no respect for anyone in this movie. She didn't care about anyone. She had her way or the highway. She mocked everything, mocked Paul the entire time. Even when she was talking to Paul in the tent, though, she alluded to that some of the people don't trust him because he's an outsider. And then she quickly prefaces it by saying, "Oh, no, but that's not me, though. I trust you." No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You look at this man as an outsider. And one of the weirdest things about her motivation, this is what really threw me for a loop here, okay? Everything that Paul did was for the betterment of her people. The betterment for the planet. And yet when he said, "I'm going to marry this princess," she was all butthurt about it. At no point did she understand why he was marrying her. He wasn't marrying the princess because she's clearly better looking than Chani. He was doing it to bring these two groups together and form one massive coalition. Now Paul has all of the Emperor's troops, all the Emperor's technology, all the Emperor's ships, all the Emperor's lands. He has it all. So when they go to war in the next movie against God knows what's up there in space, he's going to have his forces plus the Empire. And she didn't see that. She saw it as, this man is done with me, and just fucked off on a sandworm. That is why she is a terrible character. And it really sucks because I think in the third one, they're going to make her the hero. They're going to make her the one that kills Paul in the end, because first one ended with a knife fight, second one ended with a knife fight, third one's going to end with a knife fight too. It's going to be her and Paul fighting to the death. Their way of life is at the brink of collapse or whatever the hell, whatever bullshit they're going to throw at us. I don't even know if the third one's going to be good at this point, though. There are so many question marks, and they're going to go way off book on this. It's going to be their own movie, because you cannot possibly adapt the books at this point, though. They take place too far in the future. It's too far. Unless this movie's going to start off with 70 years later, and it's old man Paul and his bunch of kids he had. Also, Anna Taylor-Joy's character, what's going on with that? In the same way I just mentioned that you can't have a time jump. So why did we see her in the movie? She's probably in her early 20s for that scene. So it's a premonition of the future. So are we going to start 20 years in the future? Where Anna Taylor-Joy's character, Paul's sister, is of that age? Or is she just going to be there in I guess, like, flashbacks or in spirit. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why you would cast her if you didn't expect that you were going to go in the future for a massive time jump to start this movie off, which I think will be a terrible idea. It will absolutely kill the third movie. And even though the first one was fantastic, the second one I had my reservations because of the idiotic quotes that Dennis was saying online, though. I have no idea why he would say those things. I think maybe he had to say those things to get invited to the table. But the second one was absolutely fantastic. But the third one, I have doubts. I have a lot of doubts with that one. But what do you guys think about that, though? Do you think the third one is going to be as good as the first and the second one? Do you think they're going to stay true to the books? Do you think they're going to go off script or make their own product? Let me know what you guys think about that.